So the whole road to the knockout stage Team 2 has been leaked, and in today's video we're going to be talking about how you can invest in them. So just before the video does start, a quick little ad on a trading service I offer over on Twitch for the cheapest trading guides out there for just £4, €4 or free. With Amazon Prime, you'll receive daily trading and investing guides covering PlayStation, Xbox and PC with an array of methods covering all budgets. And I've been trading for over 10 years, making over 100 million in multiple different FIFAs, and now for the last 4 years I've made 10 million coins in just the first month. So the whole team has been leaked, and last week some of the gold cards did really well out of packs. So what we're going to do is in today's video we're going to talk about the best players to invest in. We're going to talk about the best times to buy them and the best times to go and sell them so you guys can make yourself some good profit. So first off, let's talk about the best players to go and invest in. Now, we are going to have to go off the presumption that they are going to release all these players on the Friday. Now, obviously that isn't going to happen and 4 are going to be in the mini release, but the reality is we don't know which ones are going to be in the major release and which ones are in the mini release, so I'm going to have to give advice as if all of them were in the major release. Obviously, if we know who's in the major release and in the mini release, don't go and buy players in the mini release because obviously they won't rise until Sunday. So first off, we've got to categorize the players into 2 groups because people rise our packs for 2 reasons. 1, they are a weak and need demanded card and people want to use them in their teams, but there's no increase in supply. 2, people are going to use them in SBCs. These can either be for generic SBCs or this can be for high rated SBCs. So first off, let's go and walk you through all the good investments because they're weak and need demanded. We have blatantly got Dembele. We then have got not so many others. We've got Lewandowski to an extent, but really he's SBC fodder. We've got Modric to an extent, but really he's SBC fodder. And then apart from that, we've got Batcher. Batcher is about 40k, maybe even more now with the leak. And again, she's weak and need demanded because she is a fast French left back. So these players would be Lewandowski, definitely Dembele, arguably the most quote-unquote weak and need player there. Modric slightly. And then that's about it until we get through to the woman, and then we have Batcher. Batcher again is probably second to Dembele for the weak and need demanded players. It's interesting because this week we have way less weak and need demanded players, but there's still loads of good investments. But yeah, Batcher would do really well. She's a woman who's about 46k, so we can see there's good weak and need demand. Now the second investment is players that are high rated and therefore good if we get well demanded SBCs. That is Lewandowski again, Modric again, Acuna again. And then apart from that, that is about it. Mallard, because she's an 82 rated non-rare, and high rated non-rares can do well for SBCs. But then we get to the third reason that people do well out of packs, and that is players used for generic SBCs. These are marquee matchups, these are advanced SBCs, and these are, if we for some reason get them this week, generic SBCs. So the players that I use for generic SBCs are Pepe, Di Maria slightly, Darmian, Pedro, Dest, Matic, Bergwijn, Hector Bellerin, Classe, Millard, and Q-Buff. Now I can say all these players are used for SBCs because they do not sit at discard. If someone sits at discard, it shows there's 0 demand whatsoever. All these guys sit just above discard, which means there's always a small level of demand for them if it's a game for SBCs or objectives or anything in between. So that has covered all the players that are good to invest in. Let's go and talk about when you want to buy them. So the thing with some of these players is they're already going to be inflated from when they were leaked earlier in the week. For example, Dembele earlier in the week was 201k and now he's up to 215k. But this doesn't matter because the exact same thing happened last week with someone like Saka. And what happened was when they were leaked, the investments went up a lot because of course people invested in them. We can see this occurring right here on, I believe, the Wednesday. So it was 29k. He then went all the way up here in the hype up to 35k. But then what happened on the Thursday, if we can go and grab it, is that we got marquee matchups. Again, in the hype, sorry, went up there to 36k. But then after marquee matchups, which we can see right here, 7 PM on the Thursday, he went, previously was up at 36k, and he went back down to 30k, the price of which he was before he even got leaked. So someone like Dembele, who's already up 15k, I wouldn't stress about because he'll probably go back down to 200k after marquee matchups, because what happens with marquee matchups is loads of these players get packed, but then there's no initial demand for them, which means they go back down there to 30. Now, even though they drop for marquee matchups, they do start rising then from the following morning all the way up there to Saturday is when the weak and need players would probably peak that aren't SBC fodder, so that'll be Batcher and Dembele. Now we can also see, I mean there wasn't really any SBC fodder, but this basically just happened with all the players. They dropped after marquee matchups, which is when we're going to look at buying these players, and then what they did is they then rose going into Saturday. So there's 2 sell times. You've got the meta players, which again is just going to be Dembele and Batcha. These you're going to go and sell, I'd say Sunday or Monday, just because of people getting the accumulation of weekly rewards. There is a chance that Dembele and Batcha actually rise all the way through to the following Thursday, so you can gamble that if you want. But if you go and sell on the Sunday, you might even be able to reinvest in Team of the Week. So get out one investment and get into the next. So the second investment is fodder. Now, obviously, we didn't really have any Team of the Week. Sorry, we didn't have any road to finals that are really fodder last week. But what happens with fodder is it basically rises as we get an accumulation of SBCs throughout the day. Throughout the week, sorry. So the later you get into the week, the more these players rise. We can show you this happening with Cobble. We can see that, this doesn't give a good example. We can see this happen with Bronze, hopefully. There we go. Where on the Saturday, she was nice and cheap, but what happened is she went up and up and up and up as the week got through, and she peaked before when she peaked at Monday 6 PM, although she is actually more now. Now the reason for this is because we got an SBC on Friday, we got an SBC on Saturday, we got an SBC on Sunday, and then we got not so good SBCs Monday onwards. So what happened was there was more and more demand, and obviously these players that you're buying, like the Modric, isn't going to be in packs. So because he's not going to be in packs, he's consistently having more and more cards being used, but having no cards resupplied. So the time you're going to go and sell these is either going to be Wednesday after 6 PM or Thursday after 6 PM. Thursday after 6 PM is arguably a little bit risky because we do see fodder sometimes drop with division rival rewards. So that fodder would affect Lewandowski, Modric, Acuna, and then maybe Millard. Now the third investment comes down to players who are used for generic SBCs. We can see that these trends have also worked really well. It was just last week when Palacios got a Team of the Week, and this card went all the way from 900 coins all the way up there to 4.3k. This is because this guy was being used for advanced SBCs, generic SBCs, and yeah, that's about it. So we can see there's been really good rises for players who are used for SBCs. So the players who are good for SBCs, once again, is going to be Pepe, Di Maria potentially, Darmian, Pedro, Dest, Matic, Bergwijn, Hector Bellerin, Classe, Millard, and Hubert. Once again, we know these are good for SBCs because they never sit at discard, just like how Palacios never quite sat at discard. He was cheap, but his discard was 700, but he never quite sat there. He sat at 1k, which to us demonstrated that he was being used for SBCs, which we can see that he was progressively being used for SBCs through the week, yet not being resupplied. And once again, you're also looking at buying these players after marquee matchups, because I imagine by now they're also a little bit inflated, but they will go and drop after marquee matchups. If you want the best players, because that kind of wraps all that up, I'll just wrap it up with some best investments. Dembele and Batcha, again, really nice rises. You should see nice fast rises, so as long as they drop after marquee matchups, looking good. The most versatile fodder will probably be 85 Acuna and 87 Modric. Modric being the best, just because Lewandowski a lot of the time is going to be overkill for SBCs unless you get an Icon and Here SBC, which isn't too overly anticipated. It's anticipated a little bit, but not too overly anticipated. And then if you want the players who are the best for generic SBCs, you're looking at Pedro and Millard. Millard, interesting enough, apparently plays for Man United, so that actually might be the last Olympic Lyon Millard card we see if they go and put it back in packs being from Man United. And yeah, that just about wraps it up. That is Team 2 being leaked. Hopefully that is all you need regarding Team 2 investment advice. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow with a brand new video.